Hello friends, this is Swapnil. Welcome back to our channel NetKingIT. I hope all are doing good. So in today's video, we will go through the benefits of AWS Cloud Infra setup. And we will see how AWS Cloud offers significant benefits over physical data infrastructure. So let's have a look at it. So this is the table. If you see my screen, this is the table which I have created and did the comparison between the AWS cloud and the physical data center. So the first point is about cost. Okay, so in AWS cloud, it's a low to no upfront cost. Okay, variable cost based on usage and no capital expenses for hardware. In if we compare with the data center, physical data center, it's a high upfront cost for hardware and infrastructure. So let me give you one example. Let's say I need to build one server on the AWS cloud, and similarly if we need to build any server in the physical data center. So let's take an example of physical data center. To build one server, we need the hardware procurement, right? We need the CPU, we need the hardware storage, we need the RAM. So all those things we need to procure as per our requirement. And so we have the high upfront cost to procure the hardware devices in the physical data center. If we compare with the AWS, so there is no upfront cost. We no need to pay before. Okay, so we can have the we can build the server with the required RAM, CPU, the storage. We can select according to our requirement. Okay, and it will get charged by AWS according to our usage. Okay, so it will be if suppose we required this server for a month, then it will get charged for a month. After month, after our requirement, if our requirement is closed, then we can just shut down this server. Then there will be no charges applied for this server because we are not going to use anymore. Then it will not get charged by the AWS. Okay, so whenever we require that server, we can again bring it up, and the charges will start again whenever we utilize the resources. So basically, we can say it's a rent basis. So whatever the services we will procure from the AWS cloud, whatever the services we will utilize on the AWS cloud for that particular resources, it will get charged. Okay. The next point is scalability. The scalability is also the interesting point. It's highly scalable, can easily scale up or down with the minimal cost and time. Okay, if we want to build any server on the AWS cloud, okay, so and let's say after a few months we observe that on this server the CPU and memory is getting highly utilized, and we need to increase that memory or the CPU or the storage. In that case, we can easily scale up this server with the as per our requirement. Okay, it's really we can set it auto scaling as well. So whenever there is we can set some threshold, like if the our storage device, if it reaches up to 80%, then it will auto scale this storage capacity. It can increase the storage capacity maybe by 50%, whatever we will decide. Okay, so accordingly we can scale the uh, resources on the AWS cloud. So it's really highly scalable, and auto scaling is possible on the AWS cloud. So if we compare with the physical data center, the scaling is costly and time consuming. requiring new hardware purchases and setup. So obviously, it's a physical data center. We cannot easily increase the uh, hardware like storage or memory or the CPU of the server. So it will take a time, like we need to procure the new hardware and we need to install. So it's a additional overhead on the administrator. Okay, next point is maintenance. So if we discuss about maintenance, the cloud provider, in this case AWS, it handles maintenance, updates and the repairs. So the underlay hardware, we no need to care about it. Okay, so it is totally managed by the AWS cloud. We don't know what kind of hardware they are using and all, but it's totally AWS responsibility about the underlay hardware. Okay, so we no need to take care about the any hardware related issues. Basically, AWS is really highly available. They have the resiliencies, so I have never seen there is any issue with the hardware or something that we uh, so it is totally the AWS ownership about the underlay hardware. Okay, so in terms of physical data center, you are responsible for all maintenance, updates, and repairs. Yeah, but obvious, since it is in our physical data center, it's a physical device, so we need to take care about the maintenance, the updates, and the repairs about the hardware. The next point is control. Okay, so in case of AWS Cloud, less direct control over the underlying hardware, which is a shared responsibility model. Okay, so in this case, the hardware is totally managed by the AWS, and there are the chances like our company server maybe um, maybe installed on the one of the hardware of AWS where maybe other company servers also install on the same hardware. Logically those are the separated, but maybe it is possible that the underlying hardware will be the common for the all different companies. Okay, on single hardware they may have use the multiple uh, organization servers. Okay, but they logically they are differ from each other. Okay, in physical data center, the complete control over all hardware and software. Yeah, since it's a physical data center, in it is in totally under the administrator control, so it is a complete control over all hardware and software in terms of physical data center. Then deployment. Okay, on AWS cloud the deployment is really easy. We can rapidly deploy any multiple servers in just a few minutes. I will show you how to build any machine on the AWS cloud in upcoming video. It's really fast. Just within a 2 minutes we can build one machine on the AWS cloud. Then in physical data center, it's a slower deployment due to the time needed for equipment purchase, installation, and configuration. In terms of security, on AWS cloud, security is managed at multiple layers by the provider, though you are responsible for securing your data within the cloud. Okay, so basically, AWS has provided multiple layers of security like multi-factor authentication and many more are there that we can apply. It's our responsibility that if we have servers built on the AWS cloud, then it will be the owner's our responsibility to secure the data. In terms of physical data center, the security is entirely your responsibility. giving you full control over physical and in network security. Since this is totally in our control, when we are using physical servers, then the security is entirely our responsibility. If we are using servers in physical data center, so there are certain companies like financial companies, bank, or any product company. Most of the companies have some sensitive critical data, okay, and they are still uh, few companies are not comfortable to move on the AWS cloud. So what they do, they prefer the hybrid model. Hybrid means some of the servers or some of the services they moved on the cloud, and some services which are really critical and the very important to them, those they still manage through their own physical data center, because they need a whole control on that servers on in terms of security. Okay. Next point is flexibility. So in AWS cloud, flexible resources but can have vendor lock-in and a steep learning curve for advanced services. So what does it mean? The flexible resources is already we have discussed. So we can easily scale up and scale down, or we can easily add the resources as per our requirement easily and quickly on the AWS cloud. But such flexibility is not up to that mark, is not available on the physical data center. Okay, and on AWS cloud, there are the chances, few of the vendors may not providing the few services, or AWS may not support few services on the cloud. That can happen. So nowadays, most of the services are getting supported by the AWS cloud. There is no compatibility issue so far, but sometimes we can observe that due to some challenges, since it's a cloud, right? So there are the chances like few challenges will be there, because some advanced services maybe the vendor is not providing on the cloud. So in terms of hardware, there is a limit, the limited to the hardware you have purchased. Means the limit will be as per the hardware, whatever the hardware capacity and all that we have purchased, and accordingly we can have the services. Next, the last point is connectivity. So connectivity, it requires a stable internet connection for access. It is really basic and main requirement, because without internet we cannot access the AWS cloud. Okay, so for AWS cloud to access the resources on the cloud, we need a stable internet connection. In the physical data center, it can function without an internet connection, but remote access is impossible without one. So basically, if we have the data center and we are sitting in the data center only, then it will not require any internet connection to access the resources. If the administrator is sitting in the same environment or data center, so locally they can access. But if they require any remote access to the physical data center from home while they are doing work from home, then it is not possible without internet. Okay, so I think this is what I want to share with you, the difference between the AWS cloud and physical data center. I hope you found this video informative and learned something new. Don't forget to subscribe. Thank you. Goodbye. Take care.